Hey guys, I hope you're good. It's SJ. Welcome round to my kitchen. I've started filming here because I really like the colour of the wall. For no other reason, but it is really echoey. So today's video, I'm answering the exact same Q&A questions that you gave me 2 years ago. So this video from 2 years ago popped up on my sidebar, like on YouTube, when I was just watching some videos, and I was like, oh my god, like things are so different. Like the same questions just shows how much changes in just 2 years, even about your fundamental feelings about the age gap between my kids and big things I was going through. Like, we just relocated. I hadn't ever spoken about Finn's speech delay. I just decided maybe not to go back to work after maternity leave. It made me realise how much of a big change happened 2 years ago as well. So I thought I'd answer the exact same questions from that Q&A 2 years ago, which I will link below. I think it's going to be a really interesting way of, reflecting. I love a reflect, I do. If you're a YouTuber, maybe do it as well, and let me know below which YouTuber you would like to see do this video. Not least as well because when I did that video, I was doing it because I just hit 5,000 subscribers, and now there's nearly 80,000 people here on my channel, and I was like, god, that I hadn't even thought about that. Like, and still it seems crazy. So just interesting how things change. So let's go back and I'll answer the same questions again, and hopefully we'll see what's gone better, what's got worse, what was my 2-year plan. So some of the questions were quite straightforward and I am not re-answering those, but if you go back and watch the video, you'll find out why I started YouTube, which is what a lot of the questions were about. And things like that, advice about YouTube. So I did a lot of that in the previous one. But one big question a lot of people asked me as well, and was asked about them, was would we ever live in Sweden full time? So my husband is Swedish, and we've always lived in the UK. So we met at university here, and then he never went back to Sweden, he stayed. Sorry. So his mum and dad who are here staying with us actually. And we've always said no. We've always said like Sweden isn't like was never like a dream destination for us. Like if we wanted to relocate our family, which is a huge thing to move countries, we've always been real city people, and we were always like, get in the action, go to New York, go to San Francisco, like, which would still be an amazing place. Like Canada for me, like it's a really huge place I'm excited, would love to live, so far away. But more and more lately, I feel like now I've got 3 older children, so much has changed. My husband now works for a Scandinavian bank, which is a massive thing. So with Brexit and everything, it was a very real consideration that the bank might move everyone back to Scandinavia, and we could end up in Copenhagen or Oslo or Stockholm. And I would be less scared now. I don't know why. Maybe because the kids are a bit older, and maybe because we've already, I know it sounds silly, but we've relocated just out of London to Surrey, and that was a big move for us. And I've sort of done it once, I've sort of restarted again, and I love Stockholm. So the thing would be the kids' school, they'd have to go to obviously international school, but actually Henrik did that, my husband, so he always studied in English. So I don't know, I feel like I'm not stylish enough for Stockholm, but I would be more open to it now. And actually our dream we've talked a bit about is eventually, maybe 5-10 years, buying our own summer house in Sweden. So we stay in the summer house every summer, in the lake house, which is beautiful, aren't they to die for? And I would love to own my own, decorate my own, renovate my own, and share it with my sister and her family, and my cousin who has a brain injury and he loves the retreat of Swedish countryside. So that would be a 5-10 year goal for me. Somebody asked me 2 years ago, Evelina had just turned 1, and somebody was asking, do we have the perfect age gap? So I had a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and now I have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And back then I was like, the gap is fine, because I felt very much like having a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, a newborn follows the other's routine a lot as well. But now they've got 3 big personalities, very different needs, from a 9-year-old, nearly 10-year-old to a 3-year-old. And it is much more difficult than 2 years ago, because my 9-10-year-old, he's over there, not in the room, he has such different needs. He wants to stay up late, he wants to be up until 8:30, 9, disaster. She no longer naps in the day, disaster. So all my kind of pockets, like my nap time and my evenings, gone. So you're just 24-hour parenting so much, and sometimes I can put her to bed early, like 6:37, because she's tired, but I'm still up at the end back end still putting him to bed, because it's not like I do send him up and he reads to himself and turns his light off and everything like that because he can, but also it's one-to-one time with me, so I feel like if I spend time putting the other two to bed, I should sit and read with him as well. So it's tough, and I would love any tips on older bedtime routines from any mums who've got my sort of age gap. But having a 10-year-old is also the best. They're funny, they want to hang out with and do cool things. Like, he likes to watch my cooking shows now, and he loves reading like Harry Potter and cool chapter books. His friends are really good fun when they come round, so it's brilliant. But it feels the biggest difference. And I'm going to have one starting secondary as one starts reception. How am I that mum? Suddenly it all seems very different than having sort of a reception year, you know, like just when they were all younger. So yeah, I'm feeling it more. Are you returning to work was one of the questions. So 2 years ago, that was a big deal for me, and I look really tearful in the video, and I'm talking about it because I decided after maternity leave not to go back to my job, which was an ad agency, a creative agency. So we did creative advertising for TV, print. Mostly I did TV, radio, but big creative ideas. So my job was, I was global head for P&G laundry brands, which is like a dream. Like, so basically it was like Tide North America, Fairy Non-Bi UK, and then all around Mexico, Philippines, everywhere, globally. My job and my team, obviously just not a personal job, just by myself, we had to come up, there's maybe 4 or 5 of us, we had to come up with big ideas, big global ideas that could grow the brands in every single market. And it was brilliant because we were right at the forefront, so we were doing really like forward-thinking ideas. So I really loved the job in some ways. It would have been an ideal job for somebody before kids, but with kids at home, I was miserable. I'd never been so unhappy. I just wanted to be at home with raising the children. Obviously I was raising them, but I felt very detached from motherhood and mum life, and I love mum life. Like, I just love the everydayness of it. I just felt like I wasn't following my heart, and I had to work. There was not a choice. We needed 2 salaries, needed 2 incomes. So, but it's tough, isn't it? I really think it's such a hard, being a working mum is the hardest thing I've ever done, ever. Getting yourself out the door every day, so difficult. And keeping positive, so difficult. Because you're basically paying for childcare. And I remember my really close friend said to me recently, she just went back to work after having her first, and she said to me, I feel like I'm paying somebody else to live my life, because she's like, I'm paying a nanny to look after the kids, I'm paying a dog walker to walk my dog, I'm paying somebody to garden for me, and she loves gardening. And I was like, it does feel like that a lot of the time. But I was super lucky then with a 3rd baby, so it took a long time to save up. But when I was on maternity leave with Evelina, Henrik got offered this job at the Scandinavian bank, a different job with a big pay increase, a much bigger job, so he works longer hours. However, it meant that offset with childcare and all the expenses and all the travelling I was doing, which meant long childcare, we could kind of make it work. So it was a big shift. And now, I guess 2 years on, you know, I'm really passionate about my job, as you can tell, but I just feel like I've maybe managed that career break. Like, I've loved it. Evelina's 3 now, she started nursery a couple of afternoons a week, and and then I got a phone call from my old mentor, my old big boss at work, and she was so lovely, and she rang me and she's like, let's go for coffee just before Christmas. Started talking about this project she's working on, and I'm kind of consulting on it with a big massive agency, and I can just go in and give my point of view, go to the meetings, but I don't have to take any actions away because I don't have time for it. And it's just so lovely of her to involve me in it, and it kind of has given me my like buzz. So who knows, I definitely will be a working mum again for sure, but in what way, who knows. But yeah, anyway, I feel like that's really on my mind at the moment, so I talked about it a while. Am I starting to enjoy suburban life was a question 2 years ago, and I was like, very much no. Like, I still really miss living in London. We lived in Richmond, which isn't like London, but it's on the tube, you know. If I was working in London every day, so I was very much like, if I wanted to go out with the kids, I would go into London really easily, Science Museum, Natural History Museum, Covent Garden, like I could nip in and out to London. I was really confident doing that. Then I moved just to Surrey, and there's no tube, there's no buses. Why is there no buses in Surrey? And I felt so isolated and miserable, and you can see it in those videos. And I do feel better. It has taken this full 2 years, like I would say the last 6 months. since last summer I felt a lot happier. I feel like I'm bedding in with Evelina's got more sociable. She's going to classes and nursery a lot more, and I'm getting to know her friends' mums really well. And even Freddie's, the school mums now, it's taken me literally 2 years just to feel like I can walk to school and people smile and say hi to me. I've never had that. When I moved here, just no one said hi to me, no one spoke to me, and I just couldn't believe it. So I'm trying to really be mindful of paying that forward now. And there's a new mum in our class, and I was just like, she looked sad the other day, and I stopped and spoke to her and took her number, like, let's go for coffee and tea, and she's like, it's just so hard. And I was like, it is so hard. So I'm trying to just be mindful of it. But if you do relocate, it's just more difficult than I imagined. I thought I'd just be, you know, full of joy and wonder of my children. I haven't even noticed that I've got like 0 friends. But yeah, and then also the other thing I'm doing is just traveling more to see my good friends, so to kind of offset the day-to-day. But me and Henrik are still looking for a couple friend. Sounds really dodgy. We want a his and hers pair. That I like her, he likes him, we all hang out, the kids will like each other. Like, we had that in Richmond with quite a few couple of friends like that, and that is gold dust. And if you have it, be grateful for it. Send them a message telling them you love them, because when you lose it, it's tough. The last question was, how do you cope having a speech delayed child? And it's an important one for me to answer, because to tell you as well, that was the first time ever. I'd never mentioned that Finn had a speech delay, and this person must have been watching my videos, picked up on his speech delay and asked that question, and it literally felt like a dagger to the heart, because I was so, I hid it. I covered up his speech delay. So basically he was 3 and he didn't have any words. He just spoke a lot, and I understood him, but it was all kind of just sounds when I did that video, and I was so fiercely protective of him. And if you've watched any of my other speech delay videos, I really overdue an update, but I want to do it with Finn, and I only want to do it obviously when Finn's up for talking about it. And he's not quite yet, he's just like, no, I don't want to do it yet. But he's doing so well, and if you follow me on Instagram, you can hear on my stories, quite often chatting on those, and he's just really doing brilliantly. And I was so stuck. That was a huge issue for me, and that makes me really kind of reflective, looking back on 2 years ago, how I was nearly in tears and I couldn't talk about it. I said, I can't talk about it yet, I'll talk about it when I'm emotionally feel ready to. And then speaking about it hand on heart to this community helped me so much. Like, I got so many messages, positive messages saying thank you for talking about this topic, and my child has it, and I replied to all of them. If you've ever messaged me about speech delay and I haven't replied, I just haven't seen it. Because it's just been like a weight off my shoulders. I felt like I was the only one, and I felt like it was all my fault. And I felt like I had to mask it and hide it and not open up and confront it. It was just such a weird thing, because everyone throws autism and learning delays and all these other worries on it, top of a speech delay, but sometimes it's just a speech delay and a language delay, and those things can be rectified. And he is 6 now, he's only in year 1, speaks fluently. His reading is off the scale good, and one thing I wish I could go back and tell myself 2 years ago is, you're going to get that sorted. It's not a huge thing, speech delay. Like now I'm like, oh, it's nothing, it's just speech delay. Back then I was like torturing myself about it. So yeah, it was an interesting reflection to myself. If you're at the beginning of speech delay, watch my other videos, and I will do an update, because you can get through the outside, and it's never your fault. And all it takes is facing up to the problem and just putting it in front of you and going, what would I do for if this was an ear infection? And removing the guilt and the blame and the worry and the other issues, and going through the steps, because you can solve it, and it does get sorted. It just takes a little bit of a cheerleading from you to get the process going. So anyway, wonder if that was an interesting video. Those were the same questions I answered 2 years ago in my Q&A. I'll link that Q&A below. If you've watched any of my videos, including this one, this is your first one, do hit subscribe, because it does mean a lot to people to have those subscribers. It really helps with growing your channel. Like, you know, 90% of my content is free content that I make. So I love doing it, and it's just something that I'm really proud of, and something that my kids are proud of me for doing, and something that I feel like has been a really positive thing to do on my career break, my mat leave. And yeah, keep following to see what happens next. Ask me any questions below, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye guys.